Oppo, Huawei. No.
Now everybody scream enough respect to the X. Enough respect given.
So a lot of foldables have come to market in recent months. Not so many in the US, but around the world there's been more than a few that have popped up into my feeds. I can't really remember them, but there's quite a bit. And during a preview of the device, I think it was Mr. Mobile, had made a comment that since I seen his preview, really has had me thinking. He said that the promise of dual screen functionality will fully be realized by software, not hardware. Now, he didn't say that verbatim, but you know, that's pretty much it. And it really got me thinking how true this may or may not be. Now, just yesterday, Craig, I forgot it, Scary If Literal, I think, yeah, that's the name of it. He had a YouTube live where he was discussing something very similar in reference to the Surface Duo 3. Now, I got to catch some of what he was saying. I left a comment or two, you know, with my opinions on the entire idea, but I just want to know what some of your thoughts are and or were and still might be on this trend that just may be coming to the Surface Duo 3. Now, as we all know, that the Duo is a more or less dual screen device. Actually, not more or less, it is a dual screen device. It's a device with two screens. Let's pull out mine, always with me. It's a device with two screens, and you can use either of them independent of the other one. Now, Android itself sees this dual screen as a singular screen, and all Microsoft has done is use software wizardry to have it when you open an app, it automatically fits to one side of this singular screen, and when you open another app, it will fit on the other side. So the apps automatically just snap to one side or the other. And Android doesn't see it as two screens, but we do. But because of that software functionality of the device, the devices the Duo and the Duo 2 have ended up being very productive for those who use it as such. Now, many will say it's not the best device due to all of the software issues and bugs, but it has come a very long way since its initial release, especially the original Duo that I still have. I don't have a Duo 2 as of yet, but I've heard wonderful things about it. So the fact that it's a software trick, more or less, that makes the Duo function as it does stand to reason that if you had a foldable screen, let's say like the Z Fold 3 or any of these other foldables that have come out, the same software trickery or wizardry could be applied to a singular folding screen and have more or less the same effect. Now, there's a video out there. I caught some of it on Reddit. I think it was LG that made a folding screen that can fold both ways, forward and backwards. And they were saying how this could be applied to the Surface Duo 3. Scary If Literal was saying the same thing. Now, my opinion on that is as such. The unicorn device, as I call it, the Huawei Mate XS, has an outward folding screen, meaning The phone has a screen on the front, and when you fold it out from the back, the screen extends to become a tablet. Then you can fold it back, and there's a large screen on the front, but there's also the other part of the screen on the back. Now, the issue that I see with this is your screen is always exposed. It would take a lot of engineering and folding screen know-how to make an always exposed foldable screen, whether it be bendable glass or plastic, durable enough for everyday exposure like that, or constant, regular, everyday use. You would be bound to somehow scratch, nick, or tear if it is a plastic screen, either the front or the back screen, depending on which one hits the surface first. Now, it could be said, and I've always thought it would be a really good idea, at least for the Mate XS, if there was some kind of case that could slip between the screens. Because with the Mate XS, when you open the device, the back is plastic and you have the screens up front. It would be nice if there was some kind of case that could go on the plastic backing, so when you fold the phone up and only one screen is in use, the case could fold around from the middle and cover the back of the device. Now, if something like that could be used to protect the screen that's not in use, I think that would make it a very viable option as a foldable phone, simply because by having the outward folding screen, you don't have the crease that the Z Fold 3 and other phones like that are plagued with. A lot of people don't like that crease. I mean, if you use the phone for any extended period of time, the crease is not an issue. You literally do not see the crease after a while. Your eyes just kind of blur it out because you were consuming visual content. The crease isn't in the way, so you have no need to really focus on it unless you purposely want to focus on it. Why you would, I don't know. So to do something like that with the Duo, again, the foldable screen would have to be so durable, especially for someone like me. Because if this was, let's say, a Duo 3, and it could bend the full 360 degrees like this could if it didn't have the case on, I would very much enjoy having the ability to use the entire inner screen as a single screen without the divider. I do watch a lot of shows, and I'll watch those on my Duo. I mean, I'll watch them, and I watch it in its laptop mode, or if the case is on it, the tent mode. This is perfectly fine for me. But there's times when it would be nice to be able to use the full width and length of your inner screen to fully enjoy whatever content you may be trying to view, or maybe it's a PDF, some kind of work file. The larger the screen, the easier it is to see these things. The Duo can do it, but this divide is always there. And unlike with devices like the LG V60, which I still think had probably the best software for this type of device, when you used the LG V60 with its attached second screen, it compensated for the line down the middle that the other screen created. This divide here was just that, divide, and whatever you were seeing here stopped at the divide and then continued on the other side, so you weren't missing any information at all. Words stopped halfway through the word and continued over onto the other screen. This divide was just that, a hole in the screen, and the LG V60 saw it as such and made sure none of the pixels bled out into that divide. So all pictures, all text, everything was divided perfectly between the two screens. Now, that is because with LG's method, it saw it as it was, two separate screens to view singular content, so it divided it as such. The Duo sees the foldable aspect as a singular screen. I don't even think it realizes that, yes, your screen just folded in half. Now here's hoping that Android 12L can solve some of that. I'm not exactly sure how it would work with the device, but one would hope that it would allow it to realize that, hey, we are using this device as such, set the divider as such, so that what we are trying to view isn't blocked off by the divide. That actually might not be a job for Google and 12L. That might actually be a job for Microsoft, to let the device know that. I'm not exactly sure who, but all of that said, with a singular screen that can fold, that wouldn't be an issue. Now, what might be an issue is having the pixels on screen bend and warp as the phone opens and closes and bends forward and back, because to get that kind of screen to do a full 360 motion, there has to be some kind of screen tearing or bending or stretching that comes about to allow for that. And I'm not exactly sure how they would compensate for that. Again, tech wizardry, a tech wizard I am not. I just like to use the stuff. I don't exactly know how it works. But if the Duo 3, or if any future Duo, could properly account for that type of augmentation to the screen as it folds and twists and what have you, I do think that a Duo 3 with the right software could be a really, really good device. The dual screen functionality does have its pros and cons. The main one being you can't use anything in the singular screen because what you're viewing does get divided. The pro is you can use this phone in almost any formation whatsoever: laptop, book, tent, however you choose, and the phone functions fine. The software knows what is on what side of the screen and adjusts as such. So I guess the biggest positive to having a singular screen on the Duo would be simply the ability to view that larger screen without any disruption. That's the main selling point of all these other folding phones. They go from phone to full screen tablet and allow you to fully enjoy whatever it is on a much larger, uninterrupted screen. So I'm all for it if anyone, not just Microsoft, decides to attempt this with their device. So far, the folding method that seems to be catching on the most is the method that Samsung introduced, the inner fold, to protect the software screen on the inside with a regular phone display on the outside for one-handed use and when the device is closed. It's a tried and true formula. Phones like the Mate XS and the Mate X, and there was one more device that had the outer folding screen, just didn't hit well, or just didn't sell well when it came to, actually let me not say sell well, because they sold, but the durability was definitely an issue. Those phones sold well in China and so on. If you go on eBay, they're extremely expensive, because as it stands right now, they're pretty rare. They exist, but they are rare. I would love to get one myself, just to say I have one and see exactly how these devices would fit into my daily workflow. Not that I would work that much from it, but just having something different to, spice up my mobile life, as it were, would be very interesting indeed. But the inner fold seems to be where the mobile folding market is going right now, and for good reason. When you spend that type of money on one of these folding devices, you want to make sure that it's protected, and the inner screens aren't that durable. I haven't broken any of mine, but yeah, they do break, they do tear. I've seen the pictures, as there's people online love to share when foldable devices break. Some people really don't want these things to take off, so any negative press that they can post, that they can put out to the social media world, they're quick to jump on it to try to push their own agenda of not having foldable phones become a thing. But what time is it? Okay. Personally, I still think that's where the mobile market is going. Foldable phones are a thing, as they're much more than a thing now. They are a piece of the mobile pie, so to speak, and that slice is ever growing as more and more companies dive into this space. And I can only wait in anticipation to see what they come up with next. Samsung has more than shown that they know what they're doing with this foldable screen technology. They have so many different devices, prototypes that they've shown, phones and laptops and screens and boom boxes, all kinds of stuff. And we all know that other companies just may have people on their team who think just as outside the box as the creators at Samsung do. So I'm sure we're in for a wild ride when people begin to introduce their take on what a foldable screen can do. So the future of the foldable market is looking very promising. As for a Duo that can fold, do a full 360 fold without having a hinge, with a foldable screen, get the durability up to par, get the software working to the point where using the phone has little to no issue, and it is almost indistinguishable from using a regular phone as far as everyday mobile use. I think a Duo 3, or any phone that uses the tech like that for that matter, could be a success. Of course, there's the issue of price. Something like that would, of course, be new. There's nothing is on the market like that right now. Not overly priced, even though it probably will be, but a price that is, agreeable to most of the tech world, that, this device is worth this because of what it promises. Then yeah, I think it has a good chance of making its mark on the mobile market. So with that said, my name is NG the Neon X, and just discussing where the mobile market and foldable devices are going. This is what I'm into.